Hey everybody, we're going to be covering a brand new series on this channel. It's going to be the endocrine. It's going to consist of different topics such as hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, Addison's disease, and Cushing's. And by request, I will cover others. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and share. With that being said, let's get started. In this video, we're going to be covering the pathophysiology behind stress. Okay, so let's say you're taking a stroll to the woods, and this is you. You notice a very hungry bear, and he may seem very upset. You both lock eyes. You notice that you're feeling a little diaphoretic. You may have a high heart rate, your blood pressure may increase. What you're experiencing is stress. So let's talk about that. So stress is read and analyzed by the hypothalamus. Before we get there, let's talk about the Hpa Access. So the Hpa Access is the central response system that is involved with the interaction between the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, and the adrenal gland. So ultimately, the Hpa Access is the central response system. So the master gland in this scenario is the pituitary gland. Specifically, we're talking about the anterior pituitary. So let's talk about how this response occurs. So it begins with the hypothalamus reading and analyzing the stress response. The hypothalamus is then going to send a signal to your anterior pituitary gland. Your pituitary gland contains two structures. It contains the anterior and the posterior. But for the sake of this video, we're going to be talking about the anterior pituitary gland. Your anterior pituitary gland is then going to release a hormone called the Adrenal Corticotropic hormone, also known as ACTH. This hormone is then going to be sent into your bloodstream with the use of the endocrine system. There are different types of systems such as the paracrine and autocrine. Autocrine is when the signal acts on itself, and the paracrine is sent to a nearby receptor. But for the sake of this video, we're going to talk about the endocrine response. So ACTH is then sent through the bloodstream by the endocrine response, and then it travels towards the kidneys. But we're not going to be talking specifically about the kidneys, we're just talking about what's on top of the kidneys. What's on top of the kidneys is the adrenal cortex, which is located at the top of the kidneys, and the adrenal medulla, which is the inner section of the cortex. So these two structures have different functions behind it. First off, let's talk about the adrenal cortex. The adrenal cortex secretes three main hormones: sugar, salt, and sex. Sugar is cortisol. So cortisol, what that's going to do, it's going to increase the amount of sugar that's ultimately going to give a person energy. So how is it going to do that? Well, it's going to break down stored glucagon within the liver. Glycogen is stored by the pancreas and secretes insulin, therefore dropping the amount of sugar. And it does this in two ways. It sends sugar into the cells and into the muscles. So cortisol, what it's doing in a case like this, where a bear is going to attack a person, it's going to tap into the emergency storage to produce more ATP. This ATP is going to allow you to either fight the bear or run away. In order for cortisol to react responsibly, it's going to turn off three main systems. It's going to turn off the reproductive system, the immune system, and the digestive system. These systems are not required during survival mode. we do not need to reproduce during this time. Our immune system is going to be taken down because we need to use all the amount of energy to either fight the bear or run away from it. And the digestive system is going to shut down as well. So the next hormone that's secreted is aldosterone. It's going to retain sodium and water and increase that volume. So why is this beneficial? It's going to increase the blood pressure and it's going to increase the heart rate. And this is necessary for survival. The third hormone that's released is androgens. Androgen is considered to be a sex hormone. Mainly during survival, cortisol and aldosterone is what's mainly going to be used during this process. So all three of these hormones are secreted by the adrenal cortex and is necessary for survival. ACTH is then going to activate the hormones within the adrenal medulla. It's going to secrete your catecholamines. Catecholamines fall under epinephrine and norepinephrine. What epinephrine and norepinephrine is going to do is that it's going to increase the heart rate. So with that being said, this is how stress is regulated. If you like this video, make sure to share it and subscribe if you haven't. I'm going to be covering hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, Addison's disease, and Cushing syndrome. So I just wanted to cover stress because the concept behind it is extremely important in order for you to understand the other disease processes. So thank you for watching, subscribe and share.